What's up, y'all, and welcome to the Aging Potheads. I am Funky Monk, aka Big Brother Boss, and with me tonight, as always, is the beautiful Miss Candy with an X. Sorry, y'all, for the moment of silence because I thought that the theme music was gonna play, so
Oh,
I'm sitting up here just like waiting for the theme song to
right.
play. But hey, welcome, y'all. At this time, go ahead and share this out to your friends. Grab your bong, grab your spliff, grab your joint, grab your
Grab your
blunt, and
baby
let's
Yoda.
blaze up. Man,
Mm.
man. Now,
Already.
that's is some Jack Herrera. That's what I'm smoking on tonight. Jack Herrera is a classic sativa. It is like to me the king of sativas. Um, I've only had one bad batch of Jack Herrera in my life, but it didn't turn me
Yeah.
off the shit. Um, Jack Herrera,
When you say
five
bad
blunts,
batch, like, what do you mean?
like it didn't get me high, and it was bullshit.
Oh, oh, it's just
I
whack.
gave,
Okay.
you know, Jack Herrera five blunts across the board. You know, love that shit. Um, if you got something you just want to smoke and go out and just relax and get rid of that anxiety, Jack Herrera is that. Jack Herrera is the shit, y'all. Jack Herrera is the
Mm.
shits. What you smoking on over there, Candy?
I'm over here with a little bit of sour diesel. Um,
Okay.
I b-
Oh shit.
Sour diesel is a sativa or sativa leaning,
Mm-hmm.
I believe.
Yes.
It's just a little bit of what I had earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
Not to put in a little, sometimes the day be getting away from me and I don't be having time to roll a whole blunt. So I just put a little, that's my little baby Yoda here
Mm-hmm.
and we go to town. That's really, like sometimes you just need like what the crackheads call a blast or a wake up, like
Exactly.
sometimes you just need that to
Exactly.
get after a good choke, and then I'll be
Mm-hmm.
high as hell.
Exactly. And I like that. That's a lucky ass Yoda. That's all I'm gonna say. And with that comment, I want to welcome. I want to welcome our super producer back, Token Tony.
I
Um,
Tony.
last week I was on the boards and he got on me about that shit. But hey, it's whatever. It's
I mean,
whatever, y'all. While we're at this, y'all, go ahead and let us know where you at, what you smoking tonight, what you're drinking on. I said three times in that because I did that on purpose.
mm, that's gonna work
Before
on his nerves.
before we get started tonight, I forgot because I forgot to put it in our show notes. Uh, rest in peace to Jamie Lopez, reality
Mm.
star and
Oh yeah, yeah.
BBW community member here in Las Vegas. She actually opened Beauty Couture. It's a salon that is designed for women of size.
Women who didn't want to be, who felt
Exactly.
embarrassed by going to like a normal salon and
Mm-hmm.
felt like they were getting talked about. She
Yep.
opened a salon that catered to those kinds of women, who struggle
Yes.
with weight loss, and weight loss isn't easy for everybody. Sometimes it can be a number of things why people are overweight. Um,
Yes.
but I believe her heart gave out or something like that. So I'm not
Yes.
sure what other complications she had.
She lost.
Um,
She lost 400 pounds.
yeah, she was at her heaviest 847 pounds, almost a
Exactly.
thousand pounds, and she
Yes.
lost 400 of it. So she was trying to
Mm-hmm.
lose the weight. It wasn't
Yes.
like she, was trying to keep it on. Also, but it kind of puts you in a catch 22 in those situations because her
Yes.
brand is BBW. So if she
Mm-hmm.
did lose all the weight, then what? Maybe her
Well,
clientele would have felt alienated. I don't know, That was just my thought that I had popped in my head real fast.
Yeah. Now,
Mm-hmm.
also, she passed the day after her store was finished. So
That's
they
so
do
sad.
plan on, they still do plan on opening her new store. They still do plan on that. There's a GoFundMe. I'll see if it's legit before I post it on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Jamie was inspiring. She opened up the thing. You guys don't understand how sometimes it feels as a person of size to just go to a regular place. I feel weird when I go to the barber shop and the barber can barely pump me up on the thing, you know.
Yeah,
But
things like that are don't make people feel good, I'm
yes,
sure, and I
exactly.
mean, even I'm a little insecure about, like I used to be a lot smaller, I'm a little older and heavier now. So even just things like I notice about myself that, people probably aren't even noticing, but it causes me insecurity, like this little double chin here. Like, so if you notice, I always try to, like
Yeah,
do this, or, it's just things like that that people, other people you don't think that are, but to you, it's like magnified 10,000 times because,
exactly.
maybe somebody made an offhand comment or, threw a little shade or, because people are mean and people are
Yes,
cruel sometimes. So I'm sure um, she heard that quite a few times throughout her life.
yeah,
But she still made an impact in the community. She uh, made it for because there's a big BBW community out here, like club community. I've been
yes,
invited to several things. There's for those who are LS friendly, lifestyle friendly. There's a lot of community that makes people of size feel comfortable. Which is why why
yeah,
a lot of us embrace that's lifestyle because it's
exactly,
no judgment and everybody is able to move and feel comfortable, at least in their own skin,
yeah,
no matter
exactly.
how they look. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've only had the pleasure of meeting her once,
Hmm.
but she had a club open for a little bit. I
Yeah,
never
I think that's what I remember, and I think I got invited a couple times. I just never, you know, um, there's all different kind of sub scenes and things like that,
uh,
and I just never got into to
yeah.
that one in particular.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace to Jamie. We wish her store luck
Yeah.
and all the good wishes, and I hope these folks will pick up her legacy and do right by it. I really do.
Yeah, I hope so too. I hope that, she's able to, her family is able to maximize whatever potential is left there. And there's
Exactly.
still a market for that. People are embracing people of size now.
Mhm.
Um,
Or more.
more or more,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, let's not leave the
Okay.
more out because there's still a community out there that
Exactly.
really treats people of
Size.
size really, like crap, and you
Yes.
don't know what, and that doesn't mean that they're not healthy. I've seen women twice my size climb up a pole doing pole tricks,
Yeah.
splits, yoga. It makes me feel like, well, damn, let me get my shit together because if she can do it, I know I can do it. So it's just
Exactly.
certain things
Yes.
that big doesn't necessarily mean unhealthy. you know
Exactly.
so
Shout out to Jamie. Rest in peace,
yeah, rest in peace,
y'all.
Jamie.
We got a lot of stuff to cover. It's the week before Christmas,
Hmm.
and it's just a whole lot of shit that we got going on. Yes. I know Tony don't like to talk, but I know Tony went to Enchanted last week.
Hmm.
Um, you know, what did you think about that, Tony? Come on, tell us what you thought, man.
Tony, get on the screen and tell us how you felt about
You want my honest opinion? It had about 2,000 children just running around wild like you should clothesline them. Second of all, the L's.
Oh my
They
God.
seem like they must have
Not
been
the
high off the
kids.
speed or something. Hi, welcome to Entrap. Kiss my ass. That's what I.
no,
Oh wow. Well, we
tell us
heard
what you
from
really
our
think.
our resident Scrooge. So
Yes, but
bah humbug, hit ass.
one thing we got going on this week, and we've talked about it before, is people's comprehension of what's going on in the news, what's going on just in life in general. They get all their news from bloggers and gossip rags and things like that.
Yeah.
And it brings me to once again, we're going to talk about it, y'all. The Tory Lanez trial, featuring Megan Thee Stallion and her best friend Kelly Harris, I think it is.
Kelsey.
Yeah. I absolutely feel that people who are watching this trial and getting it from bloggers have a comprehension problem. They have a very they have a comprehension problem.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, are using projecting their own whatever they feel about or who they want to win on this too. And
yes.
A lot of that has been said. And that's the thing with the bloggers now. You can very much put out what you feel like.
Exactly.
You're not.
Yes.
We're not in the courtroom, even though it's public. For people to go down there. It's just
yeah. Exactly. Well, it's very few public seats in the courtroom.
Yeah,
that's described on Twitter every day. My issue is that they feel since she got on her interview with Gayle and lied, that everything else is a lie and that she's trying to ruin Tory Lanez's life. And so what these bloggers have been doing is they've pretty much been just taking parts of the trial and parts of the testimony that fits their narrative that's anti-Megan Thee Stallion. You know what I mean? And we see it on both sides. Both sides are grabbing what they need to. However, they call her a liar. They're like, if she lied, why is he on trial? Let me tell some of you folks who might not know about the court system. The DA is not going to press charges. The DA is not going to go to trial unless they feel they have enough evidence to do so.
Right, because they have the burden of proof. They have to prove that, and then it's not Megan versus Tory, it's the state versus Tory Lanez. Megan is not putting Tory on trial. The state put the state put Tory on trial. So it's not like, she's doing all of this, and people are just so fucking stupid sometimes. Like, I literally want to come through the phone on some of these people. Like, what did you just read what it said, and now you just like, I'm gonna just say what I think it should have said.
Like, are we watching the same thing? Are we reading the same trial notes?
The same material? What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, stay in school. What and then everybody's a fucking lawyer all of a sudden. Like, I don't.
Exactly. Everybody's always a fucking lawyer when it comes to shit like that. It's Megan Thee Stallion. She did lie.
She did.
But she didn't lie about that.
So what? Yeah. Like, people lie all the fucking time. I don't care if she lied about, not
she lied about who she was fucking. That's all she lied about.
It's quite a few people that I'm lying. I'm gonna always lie about. I don't care. I'm taking it to the grave.
One of the things here, y'all, is that I don't give a fuck what Megan lied about. I don't give a fuck if she lied about, fucking John F. Kennedy. I don't give a fuck. What I do care about is that someone shot her and someone needs to be held accountable. Hey, Keish, thank you for joining us. Let us know what you're smoking and where you're watching from. Say what you want to say about Megan Thee Stallion, but she is not the linchpin of this. She is not the linchpin of this trial. Her testimony is not what's going to convict or acquit Tory Lanez. The evidence is.
All people keep saying is, well, she lied. She lied. She lied. All of them lied. Kelsey It
Yeah,
is they it's embarrassing how much they're lying about.
exactly.
You had
Now,
all this to say, and now all of a sudden you don't remember shit when
mhm,
you get on the
yeah,
stand. I'm like, okay.
and what we do here today, y'all. I'm not giving you facts. I mean, I'm giving you facts, but it's up to you to go check the shit out. I'm giving
Mm-hmm.
you opinion. You know what I mean? And what happened, what I was reading today, is that there's testimony that says what I've guessed all along is that Megan doesn't know who shot her, but we do
Yeah,
know from witness testimony that Tory Lanez and her friend shot a gun, and
both of them.
both of them. And just from the description I heard today, and like I said, y'all go on Twitter and make sure. I mean, not Twitter. Go and make sure you get the facts from the court, not from another blogger or a gossip site. Is that it sounded like what a witness saw, and this is what the witness saw. We can't, and this is just the witness's interpretation. Is that the witness sort of saw Tory and Kelly beating up on Megan. At one point, this
Yeah,
person
they were all
said,
fighting.
"Yeah, they were all fighting." At one point, they thought they were going to kill Megan,
Mm-hmm.
and this is
She
what the
said
witness said, y'all.
they thought
So,
she was gonna throw him. They were gonna throw her in the river or
uh-huh,
something like that. That's how
yeah.
bad it was. Like they were
So,
all fighting.
yeah, and then someone said the police is coming. That's where they threw Megan in the truck and drove off. And
Mm-hmm.
that opens a lot. Now, based on that testimony, if I was in the jury, I'd be like, well, fuck, we need to figure out who actually shot the gun that injured Megan Thee Stallion. It's really starting to look like, we won't ever find out because they're painting her as a notorious drunk, which is, I mean, of a horrible drunk, which there's horrible drunks everywhere.
Yeah, she didn't
Megan Thee
deserve to get shot though.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
and everybody was faded. Everybody was, there was word
Exactly.
that said that
Mm-hmm.
the Meg's former stylist EJ had
Uh-huh.
testified the day before, and he said that they had came with EJ, and Tori wasn't there yet, so
Yeah.
he wound up coming later after Meg
Mm-hmm.
called him, and
Mm-hmm.
they said that what's her name, Kylie, was the one that was
Mm-hmm.
like super excited about, well, where's Tori, she wanted to get her little
Exactly.
fangs in him probably.
Mm-hmm.
So he said that when Meg gets drunk, Kelsey, I think, was so drunk she had blacked out, and they carried her ass upstairs so she could sleep it off for a bit.
Yes.
And these are, just what this is
What
what's been,
witnesses say.
yeah, what EJ was testifying to.
Mm-hmm.
So Meg was ready to leave, but she didn't want to leave without Tori, kind of
Exactly.
thing, so
Yes.
and EJ was saying, you guys came with me, like let's go,
Yeah.
let's leave. And he said that she does turn into a different person when she's drunk, like she gets
Yes.
aggressive, so which
Mm-hmm.
I can totally see.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelsey had slept it off, came downstairs. He said he packed Megan's stuff. He didn't really pack Kelsey's stuff. But somebody, that the question was, how do you guys protect yourselves when you don't have security? Like, i.e., does anybody carry a weapon?
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to, the defense was trying to say that maybe Kelsey had a gun, or they were asking him, did you see a gun in any of these bags? You didn't pack Kelsey's bag. Could there
Mm-hmm.
possibly have been a weapon in her bag, or such and such, or what
Yeah.
have you? And they were asking questions about the placement of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Meg was so drunk that she left in her bathing suit, basically with no shoes on. So they had left, but I left my shoes. I mean, Meg, you really didn't have to damn go back and get your shoes, like. But if you drunk and you on, and like you already kind of irritated or what have you, and she they wound up circling back to get her
Mm-hmm.
shoes. I think that's how Tori wound up in the car. Don't
Yeah.
quote me on that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But uh I think the argument started in the back and with Kelsey and Tori, and because Meg was sitting in the front, and then it just
Yes.
kind of escalated from there.
Hmm.
The witness says that he saw a flash,
Yeah.
and that it looked like it was coming from her at first, and then
Yes.
he said that Tori got out. He said the little guy got out the car. He called him the little guy. And he had the gun, and then I saw 5 more shots. But he
Hmm.
said everybody was fighting. He said the guy was really upset. He was released. He
Yeah.
called it a torrent of abuse or something like that. So
Yeah.
basically, he was fighting Kelsey. All at one point, all 3 of them was fighting Meg. They said Meg was down on the ground.
Yeah. And they
Basically,
were
they was
jumping her.
jumping her, kind of
Yeah.
thing. I was like, damn, like, how did it get to this point? Like, what was the
Yes.
catalyst
Exactly.
that why y'all jumping Meg? Was y'all just sick of her shit that night, or
Yeah, because
like
she's a drunk, and they know she's a drunk.
yeah, they know
You
she's
know.
a drunk, and she's apparently an aggressive drunk. So maybe
Hmm.
they were just over her shit, and
Yeah.
maybe it escalated and got because she never mentioned a fight. Nobody ever mentioned a fight at all up until this
Yeah.
point. Nobody knew anything like that
They just
happened.
mentioned an argument.
Yeah, like we didn't know y'all was out there. And then they said Meg was in the car and she was kicking. She just
Yeah.
kept kicking. So
Hmm.
my thought was maybe when she was doing all that kicking, and
Yeah.
he said the little guy was waving the gun around and firing the shots. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe one of them shots hit her in the
Hmm.
ankle while she was kicking. Like
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I immediately my thought went to, but I don't think
Exactly.
we'll
So
ever know.
we'll never know. And everybody's wondering how Tory Lanez is on trial. You have to understand that the DA had enough evidence to go to trial. They felt they
Mm-hmm.
can convict. They feel they can convict Tory Lanez.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, to me, Tory Lanez has always he's always he has always
He
held
has
his
a violent
innocence.
past.
Yes, but he's
He does
always
have
held
a
his
violent past.
innocence in this. My
Yeah.
thing is that if he didn't do it, people, and this is my logic, and don't take this as fact. His behavior leading up to the trial with the witness tampering accusations and the bribing thing, which is witness tampering, bribing people to stay quiet. That type of behavior doesn't speak innocence to me. You know what I
It
mean?
doesn't speak innocence to me either. And he's gotten in trouble since then. Like the whole
Mm-hmm.
thing with uh what's his name? The entanglement feller.
Who, Smith? Will?
No, the one that Jada was August.
August.
Yeah, August Alsina.
Mm-hmm.
He had got into it with him,
Yeah.
literally lied and said, I was at the studio, what you mean? And then the video came out the next day. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, they said that KLC's baby, she just had a baby. The father of the
Mm-hmm.
baby is very much wrapped up. I think he's on 1501's label. So
Mm-hmm.
there's thoughts that maybe 1501 is paying off these, witnesses for the
Yes.
prosecution to just say you
Mm-hmm.
don't remember, like saying you don't remember is not exoner, is not
Yes.
snitching, but it's just saying you can just get up there.
Exactly.
All you have to do is cast a reasonable doubt. If there's
Exactly.
any doubt
And
that if you can cast any
mm-hmm.
doubt, and that's what they're trying to do, but
Mm-hmm.
the defense witness is this witness here. They called that
Yes.
witness. That wasn't a
Yeah.
prosecution witness,
Yeah.
and
That was. Yeah.
they were so upset with him. They wanted to treat
Mm-hmm.
him like a hostile witness. They
Yeah.
wanted to treat him
Yeah.
hostile.
Exactly. Yeah, because they wanted to cross him.
Yeah.
My my whole thing is that the defense. I hate to say it. I think their strategy is despicable. I think
Mm-hmm.
painting Megan as promiscuous and this and that perpetuates what's been going on online, and they're trying to get the court of public opinion. You got to remember, this goes to a jury, not motherfucking
Mm-hmm.
Mookie. I shouldn't say Mookie. I apologize. That was racist of me.
I mean,
Not
it's easy to.
motherfucking not fucking keyboard warriors who want to be detectives and think they know the law. You know what I mean? Because that leads to another thing. Because you mentioned snitching, and
Well, before we segue into that,
yeah,
I did
yeah.
want to say that there was a woman. Speaking of that, there
Mm-hmm.
was also a woman, like I believe Monday, who got called back on the jury because she was seen canoodling with Tory
Mm-hmm.
and his people, and he looked very much like the type that, you know, like the groupie type or whatever. So she
Mm-hmm.
wound up getting called back into the judges' chambers because they were wondering if maybe she would have some sort of bias.
Yeah.
So I believe,
I would have dismissed her. I would have dismissed her
yeah, I
right
would
off
have
the bat.
dismissed her too, but they didn't dismiss her.
Yeah.
They said that she, I guess, was able to convince the judge that she was able to, you know, effectively judge her
Yeah.
case without
I
bias. Which, okay, all right, yeah,
I would
okay,
have dismissed her. But
yeah.
the way the trial is going, the DA is like, you know what? I don't know how this trial is going, so we might as well figure out what's going on because, in my opinion, there has been doubt cast on whether he's guilty
Yeah, there
of
is. He
actually
could get
doing it.
off, you know,
Yeah,
like and again, you know, for people, for the dumb people in the back, it's not Meg versus this Tory.
yeah,
It's the
because that's
state.
the
The
whole
state
thing. Because
felt
everybody's
like they
thinking,
had enough proof to charge him with, you know,
exactly.
shooting her, you know,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, she got
hmm
shot. She got
she still got
injured.
shot. She
She's
still
the
got
one
shot.
that, whether all y'all was fighting or not, whether all y'all was
Hmm
lying or not, she's the only one that got injured out of this thing. So I'm trying to figure out what we just need to know who. We're just
Exactly.
trying to find out who did it.
hmm
So
Yeah,
who
and
done
they're
it?
like, she'll owe. It's like she should owe Tory Lane an apology if he gets
I
off.
would,
No, she should. Tory Lanez and Kelsey owe her an apology because they was the ones out there with guns.
yeah,
And
like I
and
mean,
if either one of them don't know which gun shot her, then yeah, they both owe her an apology. But fact of the matter is, y'all,
I
get
just
your
hate the way
sources
they
right.
vilifying her.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like
they're
and
vilifying
it's just
Megan Thee
because they
Stallion.
don't like her, and you cannot like a
Exactly.
person and still, you know, fair is still
Yeah.
right is still right. You know, whether
hmm
you like her or not. You know, she shouldn't have gotten
Exactly.
injured that night. You know, like
hmm
in the way that y'all are describing it, like y'all really beat this girl up. That girl could have wound up dead that night.
Exactly.
You know, everybody, it
Exactly.
gives very much everybody was on coke to me. You know, so that's what it
and
gives to
Meg
me.
and Megan was drunk.
Yeah, Megan was drunk. So, you know,
hmm
like it gives very much, it just escalated to, it started off weird and then it just got worse, you know, as the
Yeah.
night progressed. And she could have very much not have been here. So, like, you know, like I just hate that people have so much vitriol for her because you trying to put a black man. No, this nigga is trying to put himself in, you know, like it has nothing to do with that. Why do y'all
Exactly.
say that? Y'all say the dumbest shit
Yeah.
sometimes.
That's
This
hella
man has a
misogynist.
history of violence.
hmm
History of violence. And so, and
But
you pick me ass bitches really get
yeah.
on my nerves, but that's another
And
story.
even I personally wasn't holding that against him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Yes,
I
he has a
was.
history of violence,
I was.
and
I,
at
I
first,
definitely
yeah, he
was.
does. And I can see that, but then people started saying, well, shit, I saw two guns go off. I thought they both had guns. Megan was the only one without a gun out.
Then they
So we
trying to
need to
say the gun probably could have been hers, you know,
yeah,
like I
let's
don't
figure this
know.
shit out. But we don't really need to figure
Or
this shit
now she
out.
shot herself. You know,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
all type of
exactly.
shit
Some
y'all
dumb
just
shit
saying
like
just
that.
to just to fit whatever narrative you
Exactly.
want to fit. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, hopefully she still gets some kind
Mm-hmm.
of justice, you know, whoever, you
Yes.
know, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about snitching earlier.
Yeah.
Speaking of court cases and
Mm-hmm.
RICOs and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, we were also talking about the YSL, young. What is it? Young Slime, I think.
I
What
don't
is
know what
YSL?
that shit
YSL
means.
stands for Young Slime. You know, I'm old and washed, and I don't know shit no more.
Young stupid lads. I don't
Right,
know.
young silly, whatever.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so that case is also happening in conjunction with um, Megan Tory's trial and
Yes.
or the state
And notice I
versus.
said the Tory Lanez trial because I don't want to keep
Yeah, because
calling
I
it
don't
that
want to.
Megan Thee
Yeah,
Stallion
I don't
or
want
the
to keep saying
Megan Thee
Meg.
Stallion
Yeah.
Tory Lanez thing. We're gonna call it what it is. Like we said, we got the YSL RICO
Hmm.
trial going on right now. And you said you had some Young Gunna news.
Yeah, Young Gunna got released last week to
Mm-hmm.
the shock of a lot of people.
Yeah.
There may or may not have been um, people thinking that, or people of the mind that he snitched. Thug is the one that they really want.
Yeah.
What Young Gunna did was take what's called an Alford plea. And an Alford plea, apparently, you have to confess to certain things, but it doesn't necessarily incriminate you.
Yes.
If we can get maybe a quick definition on what Alford plea is. I wanted to look it up while I was earlier today, but it
Yes.
got away from me. But if you guys aren't familiar with Alford
Mm-hmm.
plea, that's ALFORD
Yes. For
plea.
the but
Uh,
for all purposes for the discussion, y'all, he basically pleaded no contest.
yeah, something along the lines of that. Which I mean,
Yeah.
people have their interpretations of what they think.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that think that he shouldn't have said, because mind you, Young Thug's whole defense is YSL is a record company, it's a business, we pay taxes, it's
Yes.
not a gang. And anybody who's familiar with RICO cases, RICO, that's racketeering, it's conspiracy, it's a way to charge you with a bunch of charges
Yeah.
under
Yes.
one, like one
Mm-hmm.
one in one charge. Basically, you get
Well, it
charged with all kind
allows
of stuff.
it allows them to go after people who may not even have been involved.
Yeah, and that's the conspiracy.
We got
It's
some.
very hard to conspiracy is the most fleeting charge that you
It's
could
hard
ever
to prove something.
it's hard to prove because
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to say that just because this person was around this person, that this person sells drugs too, or
Yeah.
had the warrant to do that as well. So the questions
Mm-hmm.
that he um answered, or the judge asked him, was
Mm-hmm.
is YSL a gang? And he says yes. And the second question was, you and Mr. whatever Young Thug's real name is were in the car that drugs and guns were said to have been in. And you said those, were those drugs yours or something like that? And he said no.
Yes.
So the implication almost looks like, well, if it's just me and you in a car, and you saying those aren't your drugs,
Mm-hmm.
well, whose drugs were they? Or did you guys
Exactly.
even know that there was drugs? Like, it's so many things. And then I
Yeah.
also just recently found out that this case is a state RICO. It's not a federal RICO, which I didn't even know that there
Mm-hmm.
was an option for another RICO. I'm only familiar with Fed stuff, not really state, but um, apparently, who they really want is Young Thug, and then his brother just got out early
Exactly.
this morning or
Yeah, and
something
they
like
calling
that.
him a snitch.
They calling him
And
a
once
snitch
again,
too because
people,
he took a plea. So plea
being a
doesn't
snitch doesn't
necessarily
mean taking a
mean,
plea. Yeah.
yeah, but taking a plea doesn't mean um you're snitching. Because
Yeah.
taking a plea just means I accept my part in what I did,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of taking it to trial where
Mm-hmm.
there's beyond
Yeah.
reasonable
They
doubt that
basically.
I did this, and
Yeah.
risk getting 20
Or could
years.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take this little 5 to 7,
Mm-hmm.
and get
I think
out
he got
time
2.
served, and then I'll never prosecute it again, kind of thing. So that's what a plea is. So everybody's just kind of, it's not like, he's doing a Takashi or what have you. He just going up there, yeah, just
Exactly.
telling on niggas that
But
just stole a donut out the stove.
yeah.
That it's
I,
not bad. But
yeah, I also want to reiterate that the fact that I don't believe it harms Young Thug's defense because they can still use that defense because
mm-hmm.
all they'll do is paint the other guys as just wanting to get out. You know what I mean? They just didn't want to deal with it anymore. They realized there might be enough evidence to convict them, so they said, "Hey, let me just go ahead and say, yeah, okay, whatever." But that still proves nothing because the defense can still say they did that because they did not want to be involved in this any further or didn't want to go through a lengthy trial. So
that
his
and they're not
defense
the
still
ones
may
that
work.
they want. They want
Exactly.
Young Thug. They want to
Mm-hmm.
pin. He's the kingpin in the situation. They want to pin it on him, and they want him to. But they're it's not looking. They're using the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
um to try
Yeah.
to prove some of these crimes. And it's the bigger picture. I think is people. This whole snitch culture. These kids aren't built like
Exactly.
that no more. They're not. They
Exactly.
rap about a lot of this shit. They talk a lot of this shit, but a lot of them are broke.
Exactly.
They don't have any money. This is why they keep having to do the things like traffic guns or traffic dope. Fetty Wap. Fetty Wap just
Uh-huh.
got caught up not too long ago for the
Exactly.
same thing. These
Mm-hmm.
unless they're a Drake or Future or somewhere y'all making a lot of money and getting a lot of endorsements and stuff. These little rappers that you just hear locally, they don't
Mm-hmm.
have the money like that. That's why they're going to jail for PPP loans
Mm-hmm.
and they still very much have to live very close to the street because they don't have the money that they're telling you or rapping to you that they have. It's just an image. And
Exactly.
um I think that that it speaks to a lot of what you put out because these kids are eating this shit up. They
Mm-hmm.
think Master P is rich. They think
Exactly.
all these other little, they think the city girls got money like that. They all of them sign, that little 360 deal or what have you now,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
means you sign to a nigga that signed to another nigga that signed to another nigga that signed to another nnigga, type thing. You're not getting
Like a
your
fucking
money.
pyramid scheme.
Yeah, yeah, like 2 by 2 or shit,
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And little you mentioned Master P and Little Romeo came out last week in the wake of the passing of Twitch said something about his dad not being there and not caring about his mental health.
mm-hmm,
And of course, Master P clapped back, said he was trying to do what he could to get his family, um, out of the ghetto and create something for his family.
mm-hmm.
And my thing is, once again, the public opinion is out there. People who are keyboard pirates, they don't know they're just saying different things. Bottom line, I believe these
Right.
two should handle this like adults, uh, not publicly. And without taking sides, I see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
However, I want to acknowledge the fact that as someone who grew up who was raised in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, things were done for our parents so that we can do better, and some things went by the wayside. And nowadays, I believe those parents who of those children who are affected, they're probably not okay. But I need these parents like Master P to acknowledge that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
Uh-huh.
it's one of those things that where again, like you said, I could see both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Master P is very much a hustler, a
Yeah.
very, got it out the mud kind of,
Mm-hmm.
old school mentality. Um, and he did that and provided a life for his children so they didn't have to do that.
Exactly.
Um, so I can see the disconnect between the two where the kids maybe feel like, well, my dad's Master P, I shouldn't have to,
Mm-hmm.
but um that is entitlement.
Yes.
But from Romeo's point of view, he's from what he's saying that we weren't it wasn't like you thought. We didn't have the money like that. We were living very
Exactly.
much month to month. We barely had enough money for our bills. Everything was just hanging on by a thread. And yeah, my dad, he said for a long time, I thought we owned Rap Snacks. We didn't
Yeah.
own that. That was
Yeah.
just, and maybe, some of the bills got short and he had to siphon off some of that money. Like you just never know.
Mhm.
And I also very much feel for peace side too. It's
Yeah.
just that parents think that parents do get stuck on, well, I tried my best,
Uh-huh.
to provide for you, but parents aren't perfect people. Parents are
Exactly.
very much trying to figure it out too, or figuring out as they go, and sometimes the decisions that they do make aren't great decisions. Like I can very much attest to that.
Mhm. Now,
um
Tony said they both need the closure on the situation and respect each
mhm,
other's feeling in the situation, and that's true, Tony. Because, like I said, on the other end,
mhm,
Romeo also needs to make sure that he needs to distinguish his mental health, his mental issues from his issues with his father, and some of the things that were made on his decisions. Whereas some will argue that those decisions were based on his mental illness, but no, we can't really do that. There were some choices that were made. There were choices he made in his life that
yeah,
shouldn't.
you're a 30-year-old man now.
Yeah.
You're a 30-year-old man, 32 years old. um
Yes.
at some point you have to take accountability. You're not a child anymore. You
Exactly.
have to carry, pass that torch. What
Mm-hmm.
should have happened is, you guys, him kind of teaching you the ins and outs of the game, and you taking that and making it, carrying it on,
Yes.
is what I would want my, if I had something like that, I
That's
would want
also
to
the
teach my
image.
child.
That's also the image they're portraying too. That's the image that
Yeah,
we saw.
that's
Yeah.
that's what I thought was
Mhm.
happening, but I know that
Mhm.
they've had a lot of family trauma. The
Yes.
mother is supposedly a addict, a very heavy
Hmm.
addict, still active, and they
Yes.
got divorced because of it, and he lost a sister, and Master P lost a daughter to
Yeah.
um suicide. So um
Exactly.
the whether he just worked so he didn't have to deal with it,
Hmm.
could have been a possibility. um because he felt like, he said, I'm not an ATM, or
Hmm.
I'm not my family thinks I'm all, at the end of the day, all of this is about money, and
Exactly.
that's how you see it, but that's
Hmm.
not, and maybe that was a part of it, but that's not the
Yeah.
gist of it.
Yes.
There's
Exactly.
things that people shouldn't invalidate people's feelings because they don't feel like that's
Exactly. And
what
that's
the
the way.
intention was.
And that's the way I think Master P came across. Like, I did
Yeah.
what I had to do. Your
And
problems is
parents
your
do
problem.
that a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
parents do
I
that a
did the
lot.
best
It
I
does.
could, and I understand that. I
That's
understand you did
fine.
the
No
best you
one's
could.
saying that you didn't, but
Yeah. You
these
have to
things,
acknowledge that some
both
things
things
fell
can
right
be
away.
true.
Exactly.
Right. Right.
So, but in the whole thing, once again, like we said in the other two topics we had, folks, get your sources right. And when it comes to something like this is a family matter. Let family handle it. If you can relate, state your opinion. But if you can't relate, shut the fuck up and sit the fuck down.
Yeah, I would agree. I agree with
Mm-hmm.
that as well. My thing with
Yes.
that, however, is people be putting their business out.
Yes.
You can't continue to put your business out on public platforms such as whatever social media platform, and don't think that people are not going to opine on it. That's
Yes.
ridiculous. That is
Mm-hmm.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard. People be like, well, get off my post if you don't, if you don't agree with
Exactly.
me, get off my post. You could have just
Mm-hmm.
no, ma'am, no, no. Just because I don't, it's called dialogue.
Yes. It's called
It's
a
called
conversation.
debate. Like
Yes.
everybody's not going to agree with you
Mm-hmm.
on what your thoughts and opinions or how you handle stuff, especially when you take it to a place like social media where
Mm-hmm.
everybody's going to throw their own opinions on it. And I do remember Romeo saying that he's tried to have this conversation with his father before, privately off the internet. But he could, he wasn't responding to him. He wasn't, he wasn't having a conversation. He wasn't trying to talk to him about those kinds of things. So he said, well, this is, a way for me to get your attention now. You don't want to talk about it? Let me put it on Instagram where everybody can see it.
Exactly.
Now you got to talk to me about it. Now he on here making videos and shit talking about he apologized and, so it's kind of.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I do wish them the best.
Same.
I really hope they work this out.
Yeah,
I really do.
Because when the family feuds.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas, and I know this season is stressful. It could be stressful, but it is still about getting together for family. And you know what? I just watched this past weekend. I watched A Christmas Story. Those who are not familiar with A Christmas Story, it follows the tribulations of Ralphie, who wants a Christmas gift, and it talks about how he wants this gift. It talks about just different things about Christmas, his family. It's a classic story.
Like a radio flyer or something.
He wanted a BB gun.
Oh, he wanted a BB gun. Yeah.
Yes, and the thing is, it's a classic story. TBS and TNT runs it for 24 hours or 48 hours, depending. I forgot what it is this year. And they do it back to back, but you can watch it almost anywhere now if you got a streaming service. But I gave it 5 blunts because it's a classic story. It's a holiday tradition, and it's actually, y'all, to tell you the truth, it's the reason that now as an adult, we normally don't cook Christmas dinner. We just order Chinese. We order Chinese food, and that's sort of that tradition because that's what they did at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it, I mean, come on. If you are age and you haven't seen it, then you just don't know. Something's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Who raised you? You know what I mean?
Who raised y'all?
Yeah. Exactly. But I gave it 5 blunts. It's always a good watch. I can literally watch it all day on Christmas, not like back to back, but coming in and out, have it on for noise. I can do that. But yes, y'all, I gave it 5 blunts. What are you watching?
So I actually watched quite a couple of different things. I did watch The Beast, which I'm going to give a review about next week or next show. But one I watched was The Invitation.
Okay.
I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It stars the young lady, and I hate that I didn't get her real name. But if you watch Game of Thrones and you're familiar with the Missandei character, who was Daenerys's like lady in waiting sort of thing, what you would equate to a chambermaid, or if you're familiar with that show and you're familiar with that character, then it stars that young lady. It was very much a fish out of water sort of thing without giving too much of it. She is of mixed okay.
What you got going on, Tony?
What are y'all right? You hit the button by accident. He's writing my review. He's taking my review. So the young lady is mixed. She has family that's from England across the pond. So she's given very much Meghan Markle. Dad was African, and mom was white. She's a artist living in New York. She gets this weird invitation to someone's wedding in England or London.
Is her name Natalie Emmanuel?
Yes, Natalie Emmanuel. Yes, okay, that's her name.
Thanks a lot, Tony.
Thank you, Tony, for that. So she's very much feeling like a fish out of water. People are lightweight being prejudiced or racist to her. Well, in some points it's really obvious, but it's basically like a vampire movie.
Okay.
That's what it winds up turning into.
Hmm.
She's the like the seventh son of the seventh son of the seventh son of the seventh sons type shit, where
Some other shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
some shit like that, where she was the one that they needed to complete the thing, so
Uh-huh.
they she does this like family ancestry.com thing because she's trying to learn more about her family, and
Hmm.
that's what kind of triggers this whole thing. It was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
you're 90%, 85, 55% this, so.
Hmm.
And then she tries to connect with them, and the whole family is like fucking weird and but rich and bougie and got
It
old
just goes
money.
off
And
the rails from there.
yeah, it just goes off the rails from there. It didn't really keep my attention after that.
Uh-huh.
I tried to
Hmm.
watch the whole thing through.
Yeah.
I gave it a 3.5,
Oh, okay.
just
Three
cause
and a half
I really
points.
could have gave it a 3.
Okay. I
I
see.
didn't, it was very much a story I've seen before.
Hmm.
Um, Her acting in it wasn't groundbreaking to me. I don't, I know she's from across the pond, so she had an English accent. She had to do an
Yeah.
English dialect for this part because she's supposed to be
Hmm.
from New York.
Yes, I get it.
So I didn't really too much like it. I did see
I
this
really
other.
do much like it.
I didn't. I didn't care for it that much. It
Yeah.
was just me. Um, I watched Bones and All, which
Oh,
oh my god, that stars Timothy. What is Timothy Chalamet?
Shyamalan, I believe.
Shyamalan, or
Shyamalan.
however you say his fucking name,
Uh-huh.
Timothy, the man named Timothy, but he spells it with like two e's or something. It's
Uh-huh.
weird. And Keisha was the one that recommended me watching it. And
Okay.
there's a young lady, I think her name is her last name is Wiley. I forget the first name.
Mm,
But she's a pretty girl. Very looks very young. So
uh-huh.
it basically is about cannibalism and the urge to um like the movie starts off
Okay.
like wait a minute, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
Without giving too much
Hmm.
away, but it's these
Hmm.
two young. It's also a coming of age story. It's not really
Hmm.
gory. I mean, it is gory, just
Yes.
that you do see them actually. They don't call them cannibals. They call them eaters.
Hmm.
And apparently, eaters can like sniff each other out. It's very much this.
Hmm.
Like you
If you know,
know,
you know.
exactly, and that's pretty much how they come to meet her dad. The young lady's dad pretty much abandons her after she turns 18 because he's been dealing with her urges and trying to um, get them under control because if you're you're killing people, and
Yeah. Hmm.
but she has this hunger in her from she's from Escape Room.
Hmm.
um the female actress, but there's a book too for this movie. I gave it a 4 blunts because like even though it did give very much, it's supposed to be like set in the 80s, like in
Hmm.
Reagan era. um so she goes on this mission to find, because again her dad kind of
Hmm.
just abandons her, give her some money, and like, I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore with you because
Hmm.
I can't. We keep having to move, from all these different little towns until you decide you want to eat somebody, and then you got to get up and move again because these people are disappearing.
Yeah.
Um, so she meets up with this other boy, and um, yeah. Keach said they said in the book it was more with the bones and all. Yeah. So a part of becoming like a full-fledged eater is eating the body and bones and with the bones too, which
Hmm.
I kind of, because when you think of humans' teeth, we're not. First of all, that's a lot of consumption
Yeah.
in one setting, and then you talking about the bones too. Like, our teeth aren't
Yeah.
made to just be gnawing in bones like that. We can't chew
Hmm.
like that. So, but if a lot of people were
Yeah.
disgusted by it, a lot of people liked it. I
Hmm.
watched a couple reviews on it.
Yeah.
They were trying to get past, once you get past the, I guess,
Yeah. I
eating
haven't.
people. It's
I
kind of
haven't
like
seen.
Twilight, but
Mhm.
like with cannibals.
It's basically what it is. Is they build it as a romantic horror. We
Yeah,
have
it's
a romantic comedy.
romantic.
We have romantic horror, and I believe, um, I believe that right alone would. I haven't seen
Hmm.
that would give that just the concept, which is new to me. I'd have gave it 3 blunts off rip. You know what I mean? Just just because it's a new concept I've never seen before. They talking about eating people. I'm gonna talk about eating snacks.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this week, y'all, I actually had a drink and something to eat. The drink I had was Pepsi has these new soda shop flavors now, and they're made with
Okay.
real sugar as opposed to high
Can't.
fructose corn
Yeah, the
syrup.
high fructose.
Um,
Okay.
I tried the black cherry and the cream, and the black cherry I liked it. You can taste the cherry. You can still taste a lot of the Pepsi, but the cherry is different than the cherry. It's different than cherry Pepsi.
So it
The
doesn't
black
just taste like cherry syrup in
No,
Pepsi.
it tastes like a black. I love black cherry soda. This satisfied it. I gave it 4 blunts. The reason I gave it 4 blunts because it's fucking Pepsi. I tasted the Pepsi. It didn't really taste like a full on black cherry soda. I
Okay.
also tried the cream soda flavor. That was in like the sugar free version. I gave it
Mm-hmm.
3 blunts because it was meh. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, Maybe I'll change the review after I have it regular. I had the diet because I can't be really having sugar like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I gave that
Well.
3 points. Now I also had an Oreo cookie um,
Okay.
ice cream
Sorry.
sandwich. Oh my god, and I thank you Tony for putting that picture up so people can see it. I love it. Um, I gave it
I
four
should have put
blunts.
my pictures in.
4 blunts because shit, I love Oreos. And
Yeah.
those who know me know I love Oreos. And I love this thing right here. It's cookies and cream, ice cream between two big ass Oreos. I gave
Hmm.
it 4 blunts.
That
The only
sounds good.
the only reason I didn't give it is that it didn't come in a 2-pack. Because it's kind of small, but it's not. I'm just fat and hungry and a pothead. So
The food, the munchie picks, man.
exactly. I gave it 4 blunts, but it's excellent. Matter of fact, I might go pick one up tonight and and grab one and eat it. But definitely, I gave it 4 blunts, and those can be found. I found those at 7-Eleven, so go ahead and check that out, people. I found that out at 7-Eleven. What you been munching on? That didn't sound right, but okay.
I mean, the wrong things apparently. But I had these Hershey's. They're like ding dongs, but
Uh-huh.
they're very very delicious. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to get the damn box, but they're basically like Hershey's interpretation of a ding dong. It's just with chocolate filling, and the little cake on the inside with the hard chocolatey shell. I can't stop eating those things. They come 6 in a box. You can find them in Walmart.
Jesus
Um,
Christ. I'm starting to feel like Tony
just
because
if
you're
you're
talking about
chocolate,
eating chocolate ding dongs,
yes, chocolate
hard
ding
black
dong.
man.
Yes, hard chocolate with the veins in it, or that. That's what they
Uh-huh.
had on there.
Yeah.
They were very delicious, and if you're a chocolate person like I am, I love chocolate. I'm a chocoholic.
Yeah.
I love anything chocolate. Give it to me. I love it. But those are very good. I gave those a 5 out of 5 blunts.
Uh-huh.
Very good munchy meal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had our one of our friend of the show, Justin. He bought me some of these, and these are little Durkios. They're wrap
Okay.
snacks. Speaking of wrap snacks,
Mhm.
I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, I see it now. I see it.
Yeah, but it's Lil Durk, y'all.
Uh-huh.
If you guys know who Lil Durk is, he had that song with Drake last year.
Right.
I forget what it's called, Champions or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, but they're like a hot Cheeto, but they taste more like a hot fry to me.
Okay.
They look like Cheetos. They look like
Mhm.
Cheeto puffs, but they're a little sweeter. They
Okay.
and not as hot
Mhm.
as the Cheetos hot puffs,
Okay.
but these are good too. They taste more of like a hot fry instead of a Cheeto,
Mhm.
but these are really good. Um, they're very light,
Airy.
crunch, yeah, airy, yeah, all the
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
And I like them. They're good. I
Okay.
wanted to, keep some of the bag, and I want to. Oh, and these have ranch too. So there's puff puffin fries with ranch. So they
Mhm.
have like a ranch taste to it too. They
Okay.
incorporated. Now taste it in there, and it's really good.
All right.
Hmm.
Right
I'll
on.
give it
She
four
finna
bucks.
she finna fuck
Mm-hmm.
that motherfucker up when we get off air, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she gonna fuck that up. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, y'all, go on out and get those snacks. What you got, Tony?
I was just saying, I got chocolate, a ding dong, and I got some ranch I can put on me too. Just
Oh
throwing that
my
out there.
God. Where's your chocolate ding dong?
No, don't
Yeah,
go.
you know what? I'm not even going. Never
Here we
mind.
go.
Never
I
mind.
have
Get
a
off the
chocolate syrup.
screen.
I have a chocolate. Yeah, no, the ding dong you pour the chocolate. It's on.
Okay.
But yes, y'all, we are at the top of the hour. My main thing I want to get across to y'all is if you're so invested in these things like the Tory Lanez trial, the YSL trial, and this
Yes.
thing with Little Romeo and his father, Master P, try to get facts. I know sometimes there's a lot of just bullshit out there. You got to get through the bullshit and get to the meat of what you want to know. Because I can tell you right now, what you think about this Tory Lanez trial from the vloggers and the gossip rags is not what's really going on in the courtroom.
No, and
I
use critical thinking. Like a lot of people struggle with critical thinking. Like just
exactly
think
just
of
think about
all
shit.
sides of what could possibly. It's like the argument. Like people put up a picture of a rock and say
Mhm.
people are going to argue about whether this is a rock, a stone,
Exactly.
smooth crystal. Like everything is
Hmm.
perspective. Just
Yes,
use
most
common
definitely.
sense and critically think about things and understand maybe why this person thinks it's a fucking stone and or a crystal and not a rock, or
Exactly.
just it doesn't have to be one. you know
Exactly,
it
people.
doesn't have to be black and white. Everything is subjective. So
Exactly. And with that, y'all, I want to thank everybody for watching us tonight and smoking with us tonight.
thank
I
you.
love that Keish came in. Keish is always rocking with us.
Always,
For
that's my
those
boo.
on YouTube and Twitter, as well as Facebook, and those on the replay, thank you for watching us.
Thank you
I wish
so
everyone
much.
a happy holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you do, celebrate. Um, I want to thank Tony for being on the board tonight. Thank the beautiful Miss
Yes.
for being with us tonight. I
Thank you
want to thank
guys.
you all. I want you guys to meditate and medicate. And as
Hmm.
always, my friends, stay lifted. Until
Stay
next
lifted.
time.
Wait, and this is the last show. Is this the last show of the year?
No, we got one next year.
We got
I mean,
one
next
more.
week.
We got one next year. Okay.
Next week. we
Oh, we
got one
do
next
it
week.
right
Yes,
before New Year's. Okay. All right.
exactly.
One more show, you guys.
So we catch y'all later. Good night, y'all.
Thank you guys. Good night. Mwah.